multiplication. First, we need to talk about notation for multiplication. Our x is gone in algebra because we're going to use it for a variable, so we don't want to use it to mean multiplication. One thing we use is a raised dot. It will be like halfway up between the numbers. You don't want it at the bottom so that it looks like a decimal. So this says 3 times 2. Also, parentheses side by side mean multiplication. So the 3 with parentheses and 2 with parentheses, nothing in between, means multiplication. A number right beside a parentheses with nothing in between means multiplication. A number right beside a letter. Now, y is a variable, and when it is side by side with a number, it means multiplication. 2 variables side by side means multiplication, and a number right beside a bracket means multiplication. Let's talk about some properties of multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition. It's the same as adding over and over. It's just a shortcut way to add. And so we should have all of the same properties that we have for addition should be in multiplication. So first, the commutative property. This is when you have two numbers, and we'll say 2 and 3. If we're going to multiply those, we can have either order. 2 times 3 is 6, or 3 times 2 is 6. The order does not matter. We also have the associative property, which is for more than 2 and allows you to regroup and change the order. So if we have 2 times 3 times 4, and we might group with the 2 and 3 first. Or if we have 2 times 3 times 4, and we might group with the 3 and 4. So the parentheses would say, let's do that part first. So 2 times 3 would be 6 times 4, gives us 24. On the other side, 3 times 4 gives us 12. So on the middle it looks different, but at the end it gives you the same answer. So this allows us to change the order. We can multiply in any order that we want. I'm going to look at a couple more properties with multiplication, and one is that the multiplicative identity is 1. You can multiply anything by 1 and get back your original. We will use this property a lot in mathematics. We can use it later to get a common denominator. We can change percent over. We can use it to do unit conversions. So it's a very important property. We can always multiply by 1. And we might have different forms of 1, but it will always give us back something equivalent. One other property we'll look at here is the multiplicative property of 0. Anything multiplied by 0 will give you 0. So if we have 7 times 0, it's going to be 0. This is helpful to know if you have a long problem of multiplication. Say 420 times 875 times 0 times 324. So if we just went across and we multiply, this is something really big, but then it's times 0. So it gives us 0. And then 0 times 324 is going to give us 0. So with all multiplication there, as soon as we see 1 0 in, we know the answer and we don't even have to do the multiplication. Our keywords for multiplication, of course, the word multiply. Product is the most commonly missed one. We'll come back to it. And times. Those are pretty easy. Product, I think the reason students miss it, it might say the product of 2 and 3. Remember, and is a separator. It does not mean add. Product is your operation word, so this is 2 times 3. The product is actually the answer to a multiplication problem. So the product of those two numbers is 6. So product is the answer to a multiplication problem. It tells you to do multiplication. These two pieces that were multiplied are called factors. We'll look at an application problem. Another from geometry, area. Area is the amount of space on a flat surface. We use different formulas for different shapes to calculate area. And area of a rectangle gives us a formula to use, which is length times width. So if we wanted to find the area of this rectangle, say it is 20 feet times 10 feet, right? There's your length and your width. We would just use the formula. So area equals length times width, and we would plug in. So 20 feet times 10 feet, and 20 times 10 is 200. Your unit is square feet. You'll just have to trust me on that for now. Works on just like variables with exponents, but we'll come back to that. Last, I just want to take time to go through the steps of a two-digit multiplication problem. I've seen some students have difficulty with this. So when you have a multiplication problem, if it's different lengths, write the longest number on top. And so we're going to start with the ones place. So we're going to do 8 times 5 is 40. Put your 0, carry the 4. Then we'll do 8 times 3 is 24. Add your part you carried. 24 to 5 to 6 to 7, 28. Right. Then we're going to shift to the next place. We're going to do 2 times 5 is 10. You also have to shift in the same amount of spaces here. So we'll put the 0 for 10, carry our 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 1 is 7. And then we add 0, 8, 9. So 35 times 28 is 980.